All right, boys and girls, I've got my gloves on. I've got my box cutter, which means it's time for another one of our infamous unboxing videos. I know you love it. Don't put comments that say you hate it, you don't understand why we bother and so on, and yet you watch it. So this is just our tongue-in-cheek way of having fun. So if you really get bothered by it or get triggered by it, don't watch any further. Having said that, this is the new McIntosh C55 solid-state preamplifier. Now, the top of the line is called the C12000. The previous generation that just has been replaced was called the C53. It's still called the C53. This is the C55. Let me unbox it and we'll get into the details. All right. Normally, I would have somebody helping me, but I decided I've been sick for 3 weeks. I got to do something physical. Let's see if I get through this. All right. As usual, you know if it's a brand new unit. If it's a McIntosh, it should say factory sealed by McIntosh on the tape, as it does here. So as with a lot of McIntosh products, it's double box. So as you can see on the inside, there's another box. Now this is a new looking manual. I think the earlier ones, the font was gold maybe, am I wrong? And even the type is different, the font type is different. So this is kind of interesting. I'll open it up later and take a look. See, even the way, yeah, I think it was in fact gold. Yeah, not sure if I like this or not. I don't mind it. Remote control, power cord. Okay, so when you first plug in the power cord, it shows initializing, then it goes in standby. Press. Now it's booting. This is all new. The previous C53 wasn't as elaborate as this, so I assume there must be some more new firmware in the processor that's inside. So this is all new to me. So while it's doing that, let me tell you about some of the details. This is $9,000 US. Compared to the C53, it has the same number of inputs and outputs, but there are some very significant differences. There are 16 inputs, 9 analog, 7 digital, 3 XLR inputs, 4 RCA inputs, 2 phono stages, both configurable for MM or MC, which is different from the C53 where one was specifically MM, the other one was MC. It's got the new DA2 DAC. Well, it's new, even with the C53 was DA2. It has HDMI ARC for TV. So if you've got a smart TV that's compatible, you can get the sound from the TV to your 2-channel stereo system, and it'll convert Dolby and DTS into 2-channel. 2 coax, 2 optical, 1 USB, and 1 MCT. MCT is McIntosh's proprietary connection. So if you're using a McIntosh transport and you link it up with MCT to the DAC, you can decode your SACD discs. Outputs, we'll go into the outputs later. It has a processor loop, so you can insert the MEN220, which is McIntosh's room-perfect room correction system. That, by the way, is a superb unit. Hopefully we'll get more, and I can go into some details when we get it. Or the McIntosh MQ112, which is a special separate device that has EQ. Or you can even hook up your reel-to-reel tape or a very high-end cassette deck. So we'll get into these things in the front, and then I'll go into the back. So as usual, the input is over here, so you can switch between all these different inputs. You've got your 8-band EQ in the front, your volume control over here. You've got the 2 outputs over here. There's actually three outputs, which I'll go into in a moment. If you want to enable the EQ, you press this. Otherwise, it's off. Your mute button's over here. So if you press this, this is the button that allows you to go into setups. So, and that's where you get into the menu systems. You can do all your different adjustments and so on. And when you're done, you press this again, and it goes back to the main page. Now, let me turn the unit over so we can see what's different between this and the C53. So I'll turn this off. Okay, so like the C53, it has the same number of inputs, XLR and RCA. So these are your inputs over here. These are your inputs over here. Your phono stages are over here. And this is the MCT digital module. And what's nice about the module is that in the future, if McIntosh comes out with the DA3 or whatever they call it, it just requires a physical swap, upload the firmware, and away you go. This is new. So now when you connect it to your network, if there's any firmware updates, it'll automatically be downloaded into it. Also allows you to use the new McIntosh app. So there's both for Apple as well as Android. And from your phone or tablet, you can make some connection adjustments like volume, the outputs that you want on, the inputs, as well as if you have other components connected to this using the data controls, you can also switch tuner stations and so on. So the new app is coming, if not already out. I haven't checked yet, but that's new. The other thing that's also new, which I find very, very cool, again, the C53 also has 3 outputs, but the new one has the ability to bi-amplify your speakers. So it's got a crossover built in, electronic crossover built in. So if you got speakers that can be bi-amplified and you can somehow remove the crossover inside your speaker, you can use this as your electronic crossover, which in theory should give you much, much, much better sound. So your crossover point and slope are all built in. Otherwise, you can just have it defaulted into full range. So you have 3 sets of outputs. So this one could, for example, drive the one system, or you can have it as you can see, low pass or high pass. So high pass would drive your mid-range and high frequency. Low pass would drive your bass. And then this would be a full range output to either another system, or you can configure this as a mono subwoofer or stereo subwoofer. So if you got a pair of speakers as well as a subwoofer or 2, you can configure everything with this preamplifier. So this is all new. Let's see what else is there. That's basically the latest differences between the C55 and the C53. When I first saw and skimmed through the original press release saying that they had a new C55 and it was $500 more than the C53, I thought, $500 more, they can't have possibly added that much to it. Is it worth it? Turns out when I looked through the information, I was shocked because it definitely is, especially with the bi-amp capability. If you have the ability to make use of that, that's insanely good, as well as the subwoofer connection. And of course, being able to use the new app. As I said, it's $9,000. It also has headphone amplifier and of course the home theater bypass. All right, so that's our first initial overview. I will go into more details once I've broken it in and listened to it, and we'll do an actual review of it. Also upcoming will be another unboxing when we get it, the C2800 tube preamplifier. So McIntosh makes 2 preamps in the same price range, a solid state version and the tube version. So the tube version is called the C2800 2800. When we get it, I will do the unboxing, I promise, or I threaten. And we'll go into those, and then we'll compare. We'll break it in. We'll do individual reviews, and then we'll compare the two and see which one sounds like what. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.